Dear students, welcome to Elite Studies. Hope you are all well. Today, I am going to teach you chapter 3 of class 10 NCERT Maths, and the chapter is pair of linear equations in two variables. Before diving deep into this chapter, let us first of all try to understand the meaning of these terms. What is a variable? What do you mean by an equation? What is the meaning of this word linear? And what is the significance of this word pair? So after having a clear understanding of these four things, we will try to do some questions from NCERT, some questions from R.D. Sharma, and also we will attempt some questions from Exemplar. So let's begin. First and foremost, what is a variable? Any unknown quantity is defined as a variable. So a variable can be defined as a symbol for representing an unknown quantity. It is generally denoted as X, Y, Z, or any other such literals. Now, to understand the meaning of this word variable, let us take a real life example. Suppose, consider a person, a normal person. If you see his eyes, ears, teeth, they are not going to change according to his age. But if you consider his age, but if you consider his height or weight, that is going to change according to his age. So after 5 years, suppose, you can able to say how many noses there will be, but how many years there will be. But you cannot say what will be his height, or what will be his weight after 5 years. Because that is going to vary. Similarly, let us take another example in mathematics. Suppose 5x plus 2. If you see this one, so here x is the variable. So do 5x. Why? Because if x changes, 5x change. If x is equal to 1, 5x is 5. If x is equal to 2, 5x is 10. If x is minus 1, 5x is minus 5. So whenever x changes, as and when x changes, 5x do change accordingly. But if you consider this 2 is not going to change whatever be the value of x. So in this thing, if you see the two terms, then this 5x is a variable. But this 2 is not going to vary whatever be the value of x. So we can say that a variable, in other words, can be also defined as the opposite to the word constant. What is a constant? Constant is a fixed quantity. That which never changes is called a constant quantity. And variable is just the opposite of it. So again I will repeat, an unknown quantity is called a variable. It is generally represented as x, y or z. Whereas a constant is a fixed quantity that will never change. I hope I have made my point clear. So don't worry about the definitions. You will get all these definitions at the end of the video. And moreover, nobody is going to ask you definitions, just to have a clear understanding. Now next, what is an equation? Equation comes from the word equal. So an equation in mathematics is defined as a mathematical statement consisting of an equal to sign between two expressions. There will be two expressions called as LHS and RHS, and in between these LHS and RHS there will be an equal to sign. See, suppose 3x minus 5 is equal to 2y plus 3. If you look at this, there is an equal to sign between these two expressions. And this is an expression. This is another expression. this is called the left hand side. In other words, it is in short, it is known as LHS, left hand side, and this is the right hand side, RHS. So these two expressions are connected by a sign known as equal to. This is called is equal to or just equals. So an equation is nothing but a mathematical statement consisting of an equal to sign between two expressions. If you further consider the anatomy, then these are called the terms of this equation. Terms. These are the terms. These are called the terms of this equation. In this 3 is called the coefficient. 3 is called the coefficient of x. Similarly, in this expression, 2 is the coefficient of 5, whereas 5 and 3, they are the constant terms. A constant term. See, minus 5 is the constant term. And this is the equal to sign. Here, what about this minus and plus? These are nothing but simply operators, mathematical operators. Operator. This is the operator. So, this is all about the anatomy of an equation. So, I will again repeat. Equation is nothing but a mathematical statement consisting of an equal to sign between two mathematical expressions. So here 3 is the coefficient of x, minus 5 is the constant term of the left hand side, whereas in the right hand side 2 is the coefficient of y is the variable, and 3 is another constant. So in this equation there are two variables. There are two variables. Similarly, there may be an equation of degree equation of variable 1, it may be equation of variable 2, variable 3. So I hope this point is also clear. So we are finished with this part also. Now let us come to the word linear. This is the most important part of this full chapter to understand what is linear. Now, before that, let us have a bit of discussion on a degree of an equation. Because until and unless you understand what is degree of an equation, you can never you will never be able to understand the meaning of word linear. Now, degree means what? It is the highest power of the variable. In an equation, you see what is the variable, and you try to find out the highest power of the variable, and the highest power of the variable will be the degree of this then particular equation. So to clarify, let us take some examples of equation and its corresponding degree. Degree may be 1, it may be 2, it may be 3, it may be 4, it may be 5, and so on. So 1, suppose if I write x plus 3 is equal to 4. Here the variable is x. The variable is x. Now in this variable x, its power is 1. So the highest power of the variable, is called its degree. So this is the highest power, 1. So therefore the degree is 1 here. If I write suppose 2x minus 5y is equal to 7. In this there are two variables. Here the power of x is 1, the power of y is 1. So the greatest power of the variable in an equation. So this is again an equation of degree 1. 3. Again here you see, this is again an equation in one variable, x is the variable, here the degree is 1, here the power is 2, here the power is 1, here the power is 0, you can write x equal to 0, that you studied in earlier classes. So the highest power of the variable is 2, so the degree of the equation is 2. Let us consider this equation. Here there are two variables x and y. In this term, the highest power is 2. In this term, the power is 2. In this type of terms, you have to add these two variable powers. Here it is 1, here it is 1. 1 plus 1, 2. So here again the highest power of variable is 2. So therefore, the degree of the equation will be 2. Similarly, we can have cubic equation also. If I write 6x cube plus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. Here, equation of degree 1 and the greatest power is 3. So here the degree is 3. 6. Let us have this one. Again, this is an equation of having two variables x and y. Here in this term, the power is 2. Here the power is 2. In this, the power is 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1, it is 3. Again, it is 1. So the highest power is 3. 2 plus 1, 3. So its degree is 3. Similarly, we can have many other examples having degree 4, degree 5, degree 6, degree 7, and it may go up to degree 10, 11. So those things are now at present irrelevant to you. It is beyond the scope of our syllabus. So now the equations, now what is a linear equation? Linear equations are those equations whose degree is 1. So here the degree, this is an equation degree 1. So this is an equation degree 1. So these equations are called linear. Whereas these are not called linear. These are called linear equations. These are called linear equations. So we are going to study in this chapter about this type of equations. We are not going to study about this. These are called linear, as I've told you now. These are called quadratic equations, cubic equations. Then the equations of degree 4 are called biquadratic. Then equations of degree 5 are called quintic. 6 is called hextic, heptic, octic, nonic. Like this way it goes on. So that is, you don't bother about those type of equations. So here, so again I will try to repeat that linear equation is an equation whose degree is 1. So we are going to study about these two types. Here the difference, this is also degree 1, this is also degree 1. Here what is the difference? The difference is very simple. Here it is an equation in one variable, but here it is an equation in two variables. It is a linear equation in two variables. Similarly, if you write, suppose, if you write like this, then this is again in a linear equation, but in three variables. This is again a linear equation in three variables. Linear equation because its power is 1, its power is 1, its power is 1. So it is a linear equation, not what it is a degree is 1. So it is again a linear equation. But this is a linear equation in three variable. So I hope you have understood. But one interesting thing you should understand here, this is called, generally it is called a linear equation in one variable. But you can simply convert this into a linear equation in two variables, which you have already studied in class 9. Now, suppose x plus 3 is equal to 4. X plus 3 is equal to 4. You can write like this as x plus 0y plus 3 is equal to 4. Now, you see, both the equations are same only. But here, it can be told as a linear equation in two variables. Whereas this is a linear equation in one variable. This is just a conversion. Just a conversion. Here the most important thing you have to understand is the power. Because as the power increases, the difficulty or the complexity of the equation increases. A quadratic equation is more complex than a linear. A cubic equation is still more complex. So the complexity, the degree is a very important parameter of an equation. So this is all about our linear. So I will again repeat, linear equations are those equations which have degree 1. Now, I think we're coming to the point, linear equations in 2 variables. So, we are not going to study this type, because here there are linear equations 3 variables. We are not going to study this type. We are only going to study this type of equations. Linear equations in 2 variables. Though it seems to be 1 variable, but it will be converted into 2 variables. So here linear equations in 2 variables. There are 2 variables, the power is 1, so it is the linear. Now let us come to the last part, that is significance of the word pair. This one, pair. What is the significance of this word pair? Pair means, literally it means 2. Pair of socks, pair of scissors, pair of glasses, pair of shoes. So pair means 2. So why it is written pair? Why not one linear equation in 2 variables? Or why not 3 linear equations in 2 variables? Why the word pair? Pair, to understand this, we should know the bottom line. You see, if you consider any equation, the sole purpose of an equation is to get the solution of that equation. Solution means to get the root of that equation. Suppose if you write 2x plus 3 is equal to 9. This is an equation, a linear equation in 1 variable. What is the purpose of this equation? The purpose of this equation is to get the values of x for which the equation is satisfied. That is, the LHS becomes equal to RHS. How? Simply you solve it. 2x will be equal to 9 minus 3, that is equal to 6, and x, so gives it x is by 2 is equal to 3. So this is called the solution of this equation. Why? Because if you put in place of x, if you put 3 to the 6 plus 3, 9, so 9 is equal to 9, the LHS becomes equal to RHS. So that is called the solution of this equation. Or you can say the value of the variable, for which the equation will be satisfied. That RHS will become equal to, LHS will become equal to RHS. So this is the very purpose of an equation. That is to get the values of the variable for which the equation is satisfied. Now, in this case, the solution is unique. Only one. But in place of this, if you consider, suppose if I write 2x plus 3y is equal to 9, in this case, you can never be able to get a specific unique value of x and y. There will be infinite. You will see that I will teach you later on. There will be infinite pair of values of x and y for which this equation will be satisfied. You will not get equation a simple number like this. Means a single solution like this. There will be many pairs. There will be many pairs which will satisfy this. So, to get a specific pair of value, to get a unique value, you need one more equation. With a single equation, it is not sufficient to get a unique value of x and y. So, to get a unique value of x and y, what you take? You will take some another equation. Suppose let it is 4x plus 5y is equal to 6. Now, if you see these two equations, now these two equations, this is linear equation in 2 variables and another linear equation in 2 variables. Now, you can get the values of x and y because there are 2 variables and there are 2 equations. So, the bottom line is that the number of equations you need to get the values of the variable should be equal to the number of variables. Again, I will repeat. If there are 2 variables, you need 2 equations. If there is a 1 variable, you need only 1 equation. If there are 3 variables, you need 3 equations. Now, if there are 4 variables, you will need 4 equations. Means the number of equations must be equal to the number of variables. That's it, simple. Let us take another example. Suppose x plus y plus z is equal to 5. 2x plus 3y minus 4z is equal to 3. Now here if you see, there are 2 equations, but the number of variables are 3. So you can never get a single value, a unique value of x, y and z. To get unique values of x, y and z, since there are 3 variables, you need 3 equations. So that particular equation may be Suppose 5x plus 6y is equal to 2. It may be. It may be like this. So 3 variables and 3 equations. So I hope you understood the word pair. Why pair? Since there are 2 variables, means there are 2 unknowns, so we need 2 equations, 2 pair of equations. A pair of equations. So 2 equations, that is the significance of the word pair. Since there are 2 variables, we need 2 equations. Think a little bit, you can easily understand. Now this part is also over. Now before ending my class, I will try to explain you the general form of a quadratic of a linear equation. General form of a linear equation. The general form of a linear equation is written as ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. This is general form where you add some conditions. Where a comma b comma c belongs to real number and a not equal to 0 and b not equal to 0. So you now understand there are 2 variables. So a is the coefficient of x, plus b is the coefficient of y, and plus c is the coefficient of it is the constant term and is the equation. Where to satisfy, if you write like this in general form, to satisfy this to be a linear equation, what you would add these conditions? A, B, C belongs to real number. Now what are real numbers? Real numbers are what? Whatever numbers you have studied, you know, as on date, those are all real numbers. 1, 2, minus 2, 0.3, 5 by 6, root 2, root 5, root 2 plus 1. These are all real numbers. The other world is complex numbers. That you will study in higher classes, that is in class 11. So don't worry about that. Whatever number you know till date, those are called real numbers. So this part is easy. Now here why it is written like this? A is not equal to 0 and B is not equal to 0. Because if A is equal to 0, and B, you see, here you should understand A is equal to 0, together set should not be 0. But A can be 0, but B should, if A is 0, then B should not be 0. If B is 0, A should not be 0. Means together they should not be 0. Either A or B may be 0. Because if A is 0 and if together cannot be, suppose if A is 0, then you are having a linear equation. You are having a linear equation. And if B is 0, then again you are having Ax plus C is equal to 0. So again you are having an equation. But if A and B, if A is equal to 0, the given equation reduces to by plus c is equal to 0. It is an equation. If b is equal to 0, then it becomes ax plus c is equal to 0. So it is still now again an equation. But if a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0, then it becomes a c is equal to 0. This is not correct. Because suppose in an example, suppose it is 5 and the 5 it cannot be equal to 0. So together A and B simultaneously, together they cannot be 0. Simultaneously they cannot be 0. Either of them may be 0, but both cannot be 0. Now why it is not, it is C equal to 0? Suppose, why? Because if C is 0, again you are having the linear equation Ax plus, if C is 0. If C is equal to 0, then we are having Ax plus by is equal to 0. Still now you are having an equation. So I hope you have understood this. A is not equal to 0 and B is not equal to 0. So this is all about this chapter. It is just an introduction only. So if you know this thing, then all this thing will help you a lot while doing these exemplar questions. They ask to minute details in exemplars. You have clear things. What is a variable? What is an equation? When it is to linear? That's it about the class. Now, if you have any problem, then you write in the comments. Okay, I'll try my level best to let you understand in greater depth. In the next chapter, we'll try to do how to solve this pair of linear equations, two variables, graphically. Then we will go to algebraical way, algebra methods. So till then, thank you, students.